Here we see an adorable, innocent baby with a long life ahead of him. There could be so many more precious lives today, but unfortunately, there are over 3,000 medically performed abortions every year in the U.S. I'm Jessie Lynn David. This is Delcy Martinez and Aden Silva, and this shocking number leads us to ask the question, should the landmark decision Roe v. Wade be overturned for everyone except women who have been raped? First and foremost, we must understand what Roe v. Wade is. Aden will now educate us on what that law is.
To understand what Roe v. Wade is, and whether or not it should be overturned, you have to know the history behind abortion and what Roe v. Wade is. Roe v. Wade was a court case between Jane Roe and Henry Wade in 1973, in which the U.S. Supreme Court voted in a 6-3 decision that women had the right to abortion throughout their pregnancy, but that the state could restrict abortion in the second and third trimesters, which is weeks 14 through 40. The Supreme Court made a landmark decision that day, which has been controversial throughout the years, with people fighting on the pro-life and pro-choice side.
Delcy will now discuss possible solutions to this abortion issue, as well as our proposed solution regarding the law. Delcy?
So some possible solutions are to limit government funding to only certain circumstances and to elect more pro-life justices to the Supreme Court. And our one cemented main solution is to overturn the law of Roe v. Wade and make it illegal under the circumstance of rape. And if that solution happens, it would prevent future government death, it would save more lives, and it would give legislators the freedom to make restrictions on abortion.
First, we'll hear from Aden on why abortion should be illegal from a legislation standpoint.
So for Roe v. Wade to be overturned or even restricted, legislation and state legislators or even members of Congress have the power to overturn it. Since from 1995 to 2003, 31 states had some sort of restriction on abortion. And after Roe v. Wade, almost every state has placed some sort of restriction on abortion, whether it be limiting the funding for abortion or restricting the timeline for how long a woman is available to have abortion. This is the South Dakota State Legislative Building. South Dakota passed a law in 2006 which said that abortions would be illegal throughout the second and third trimester, except for cases involving rape or incest. Then there is Representatives Trent Franks from Arizona and Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee. They proposed a bill to Congress in 2015 saying that abortion should be illegal in all cases and that Roe v. Wade should be overturned. While it did seem like a good idea at first, not enough people went along with it. But there is always opportunity for Roe v. Wade to be changed.
Next, we'll hear from Delcy, who will explain the debt caused by abortion.
So the government is going in debt because of abortion, because they have been funding a program called Planned Parenthood where they talk about parenting and babies and all that fun stuff. And the government funded them and gave them a budget of $446 million. And on average, the cost of an abortion is about $300 or more. And this information was provided by Ray Harrison, who is a columnist for the New York Post. And over here, you see a picture of an abortion clinic.
Most concerning, abortion should be illegal because fetuses and embryos are still human beings. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, at just week 4 to 5 of pregnancy, formation of the heart, liver, and spinal cords have already begun. Already by week 8, all major organs have been formed, and the heart already beats at a perpetual rate. Moreover, let's take a look at the human anatomy. We see aspects of the human body like the brain and heart. We also see major organs such as the liver and lungs, which is also being developed in embryos and fetuses. According to a case file released by the Life Review on Roe v. Wade, embryos and fetuses are all the same human being, just developing as different stages of humans. This proving that even if an embryo or fetus is not dependent to live outside of a uterus, it is still a human and has the right to live under Amendment 14 protecting human rights. And while these causes to prove why abortion should be illegal, we do have a circumstance in which decides that, which Aden will prove now.
While we think abortion should be illegal in most cases, we think there is a certain exception to that rule. We think that abortion should be legal in circumstances where the woman was impregnated because of rape, because rape is a terrible crime in which the victim is defenseless. There are also no pro-life lawmakers are pushing to stop abortion in cases of rape, thinking that it should be legal throughout. There are other possibilities that we have considered, but none of them seem to really work. First, people say since the Supreme Court made Roe versus Wade, then how come they can't overturn it? Why don't we just elect more pro-life justices? But it's not that simple, because there's too many pro-choice justices right now who would vote against Roe versus Wade.
Alongside with Aden, Delcy would provide another solution that wasn't the best but could still potentially work.
So another possible solution that could work was limiting government funding to only certain circumstances. And the U.S. funds international family planning groups, and if the government would limit that and how much money they would get, then the family groups would be probably mad or upset that they wouldn't be getting as much money to perform the abortions and keep that establishment going. And as said before, the government funds a program called Planned Parenthood, and if they limited the money towards Planned Parenthood, then Planned Parenthood would get mad as well, and they wouldn't be content because they wouldn't be getting sufficient money and a bigger budget to keep performing the abortions. And this solution could work, but if you would limit and give certain money to different groups, then everybody would be in controversy because they would be like, oh, these people get more money than me, but we don't have as much money to support and keep running the abortion, and it would be controversial.
Now let's hear a wrap-up from Aden.
Disregarding the incident of rape, abortion should be illegal in all cases. There will be many positive changes that come with abortion being illegal, such as lives will be saved, and government will save millions of dollars every year from the money that they're funding abortions with. But this will not come easily, because pro-choice activists will not give in easily, and they will keep a fight going against the pro-life activists. Also, laws are not easy to change, as they take a long process of many years, and politicians will have to agree with citizens who want abortion to be illegal.
All things considered, and even though this cannot happen overnight, we can begin the process of overturning Roe versus Wade. We can create petitions and get signatures. We can make connections with officials in city halls. The more connections made, the more word will spread, and the more change is likely to happen. If we leave you with one thing today, it's to remember that life offers no guarantees, but abortion offers no chances. So act now.